But you're good.
Okay,
You're
I'm
fine.
good. Thank you for the warning.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the heads up. Hi, guys. Oh, it's going to be a rocky day.
I'm tired.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was out till all hours last night. He was working a concert down St. John, doing security for a music festival, isn't it?
Yes, the Area 506.
Area 506 Music Festival. So last night was fairly lively because Alan Doyle from, you probably remember him, he's from Great Big Sea, was the headliner last night. Sold out show. So it was rocking and pretty rowdy. And and it was also a late night. So he didn't roll back in here till well after midnight. So he's a little tired and he's got to do it all over again tonight. Let me see. What do we have? Busy week. I am okay. Right off the top, I am feeling much better. Thank you. I know. I took a couple of days and just sort of disconnected for a bit because I really was not feeling great, and so that little bit of rest did wonders. So I am feeling lots better. So thanks for your notes and your messages. Really appreciate it. It was nice to know I was missed. But
You will type softly.
I will type softly. For God's sake, don't do that. He'll go back to sleep. So it was a big mail week this week, though. Got lots of mail.
Goodies.
I did. I got goodies. My pal Deb sent me one of the new Stampenda stamps. This one's really pretty. It's what is this one called? Slim Snowflake Wishes. Awesome stamp. So if you're looking for this one, it's a beautiful snowflake design. It's got nice little wording inside. It's a really nice stamp. And she sent me a Tombow lettering set. So I got toys to play with. So there was that, and I got a couple other things this week. This was really great. Yeah, I gotta love painters. I had mumbled about the fact that I was a little short of plantation pine.
Somebody sent you a bottle of plantation pine.
Yes. So I get this little parcel in the mail the other day with a note. I had sent her off some samples of something that she had been looking for and couldn't find. So Faye Reed, I got my bottle of plantation pine. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Painters are wonderful. And your sweet little note. Thank you so much for that. And my pal Sheila sent me a great card. Look at this. It's called Woodland Raven.
Nice.
Isn't that nice? And it's an original watercolor and India ink by Sheila Landry.
Sheila did that?
Sheila did that. Isn't that awesome?
Oh.
And then in the parcel was this.
Uh-oh.
Paul Rubens watercolors.
Ooh.
So she sent me this great little set of watercolors. Awesome. I can't wait to play with these. So I have new toys to play with from Sheila. Thank you, sweetie. Love you. Mwah. Appreciate that. And Sheila's going to be doing the surfaces for our new membership pattern. So she's doing the ornaments for me. I can't
nice.
wait. So that goes up on August
I want
1st.
to see the raven.
That raven is just, it's
That's
gorgeous.
my style of art. I like it.
Yeah. So there was that, and then got some new surfaces from Covered Distributing. So, ta-da! These are going to be awesome. Little gingerbread men. Well, little ginger zombies, zombie cookies. And the surface that I'm using today for Name Your Poison, they had the ornaments at Covered Distributing in the small sizes. So those were really awesome. I loved that. And then they've got some really great framed pieces. I've done the vases with the flowers and whatnot. And then they've also done these smaller versions,
Cool.
which are really nice. So I was excited about those. And then I found this on their website at Covered Distributing. This is an awesome Merry Christmas stencil. It's gorgeous. So if you're looking for a Merry Christmas stencil, go and check out Covered Distributing. They've got some fabulous stencils. And this is one of my favorites. I loved this one. Great lettering. I've got a project in mind, and this will be perfect for it. So that was all of the goodies that arrived here this week. It was very nice, especially the plantation pine, because I, desperately needed some plantation pine because I am out. Not anymore. I have a bottle. So I should be good for a little bit. And today we're going to be painting Name Your Poison. I thought it'd be fun to do a Halloween piece. And this one is really simple. Pardon me, I've got a terrible itch. This one is really simple. It's a lot of fun. Lots of really bright, bold color, with the bright oranges and the bright greens and then the purples and then the wine glass and lots of creepy smoke and then some fun with some lettering. So that is what we're going to tackle today. The surface that I originally used is from Creative Arts Lifestyle, which is I believe it's a 7.5 by 12 arched panel. I just happen to have one here, but it is actually from Cover Distributing. So, which is this shape, they call it the tombstone shape, which I suppose is accurate and oddly appropriate. So that's the one we're going to work on. I really liked the surface. I think it lends itself very well to this type of thing. So,
Sheila Landry says, message me after the program.
Okay.
Make her do it.
I got to send her the line drawings for the ornaments. Yeah. So,
Good mornings.
Lots of good mornings. Good morning to everybody. I don't know what the weather's like in the rest of the country. I know it's supposed to.
Sunny today.
It's sunny today. We had a lot of rain yesterday.
Tell me about it.
And the temperature's been just awesome. Like, it's been beautiful here. The weather has not been too terribly cold or too terribly hot, so it's been just perfect. And rain when we need it, and sunshine when we really need it.
I want my tombstone in the shape of a cat.
Is that Sheila?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see, she did these amazing ornaments. I don't know if some of you guys must have seen them online. On Sheila's painting group. She has just done these fabulous ornaments. They have a lightly stenciled background, kind of looks like old parchment. It's really sharp. And then she did these silhouette type ornaments. And Dominic and I were looking at them on Facebook yesterday. And Dominic absolutely loved the fact that there is the headless horseman.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that. People don't put the headless horseman in a lot of Halloween stuff anymore, but
It used to be.
it used to.
In the 90s,
but,
that was like a staple.
yeah, but
But not anymore.
oh, these are just the coolest things. She's got silhouettes of cats, and it's just a great piece. There's a skull and a raven, and they're just fabulous. The ornaments are just fabulous. Love them. So I'm all about Halloween these days. I keep wanting to paint Halloween. So next thing you know, I'll be painting fall stuff because I love fall. So, all right, guys, if you are ready to get started, so am I.
Woo! There you go.
So this is the piece that we're painting. This is Name Your Poison. This one is really a lot of fun. It is not a difficult paint, but there's some really nifty techniques in here for doing a variety of. I'm sorry, I keep pushing it away.
See that line?
Right there?
Yeah.
Korostisla nyu dai.
Okay. We're off to that kind of day, aren't we?
We are.
Sorry, we gotta move some paint here.
So, Name Your Poison. I had to make a couple of adjustments. The base color for the Scultini in here originally was Margarita. Margarita is a discontinued color, therefore it is not in my paint rack, therefore I had to substitute it for something else. And so I went with Sour Apple because I really liked that vibrancy. And so that is my base color, but originally it was Margarita, but you could use any high yellow acid green will work just fine. I really liked the contrast of this Sour Apple in here. It's a nice bold green. It shows up really nicely against that black. So that's what we're going with.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob. Yes, Bob is here. God forbid Bob should be late.
Bob's gotta be here. Bob is now a staple of the channel.
So we're going to have a little bit of fun. The neat part about this particular piece is that we're not really looking for realism here. And in fact, it's more fun if we don't. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. So Deb and I attended a workshop with Tracy Wines-Apfel and Andy Skinner a few years ago. We went to Chicago, out to Rosemont to do a weekend with them, and it was an absolute blast. We had so much fun. But we were in a class with Tracy, I think. Well, actually, it was with both of them at the time, and it had lots of stuff going on in the background. It painted a big red heart in the middle of it, and I don't know. I think I just got distracted, and I turned the heart into a skull. It was just a thing, and I had so much fun with it. But when I came home from that, I got thinking about changing other things into skulls, and so the idea of painting the skull as the cherry, I thought was kind of fun. So, hence the cherry. But I'm going to switch to a smaller brush now. We're going to dry this green paint, and then we're going to shade all of this green with some thinned Kelly green. I might have to go a value darker. I will have to see. But Kelly green, dropped my thing again. Okay.
The skull is the olive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kinda, sorta.
Or the cherry.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with, I think, a forest green, because I don't think I have Kelly green. Hopefully, this is not a bad color. Oh my gosh. Can tell this color's been sitting there a while.
Thickened up on you?
Ew, I'll say. Yuck.
Yeah, be sure you hit the like button. We didn't even talk about the giveaways tonight.
No, we didn't.
Why?
But we do have giveaway. I don't know. It just slipped my mind. Lights are on, nobody's home. We have great giveaways today, actually. I wanted to show you this. That's, hello. Ta-da! Ta-da! Okay, so the giveaway this week, I've got 2 sets of quills, faux squirrel quills. These are fabulous brushes for doing stroke work. Absolutely fabulous. They come to a really nice point. They have a really full belly, so they hold tons of paint, tons of water. But I will say this. You see this plastic over top of the handle and ferrule? Leave that on there. Don't take that off. Leave it on, because that is what is holding this brush together. That's what it is designed to do. So 2 of you are going to get a fabulous set of Dynasty Faux Squirrel quills. I think there's a couple of different sizes in there. And then I also have a set of jumbo rounds in there. So somebody's going to get a set of those. So nice little prize pack. And there's some other goodies in there. There's always other goodies. So.
I have never seen quill brushes like that.
Huh?
Where do you get those?
These are in the Faux Squirrel line. So you can get these from the Brush Guys. They have them available there. And when you're working in watercolor, these are just fantastic. But you can also use these for acrylic. They're a beautiful brush for acrylic for doing stroke work.
Sorry. I'm just going to have to ask my mother to get her hands out of the chef for a second. So I can fix the focusing issue that we're having.
Oh,
It's going
okay.
all over the place.
I'm moving too much.
There you go.
Okay. So I'm just going to float down here at the bottom of this glass with a little bit of that. I'm using forest green because I don't have Kelly green. I just wanted a darker green. So I need to put that color down in there and around that skull. There we go.
Where's that fountain brush? Or the quill? What's the number on it?
It's a number 4.
Number 4? Okay, so you... Oh, yeah, you can tell you don't take that plastic off.
Nope.
It'd be bad Scooby.
Yes, it would be bad Scoobies. So
Oh,
I'm just putting a... Yeah, Dynasty has... none of the brushes are made in China. None of the brushes are made in Japan or India or anything like that. Dynasty Brush has its own plant in Thailand, and all of their employees there are paid on the same scale as their American counterparts. And so they service most of the European market and the South American market, whereas the U.S. factory in Glendale, New York, services the United States and Canada and so on. So I need to highlight, get some light up top here on this Scultini. I just think that's a neat name for this. Scultini. That's not almost as good as the champagne.
it should be a Manhattan.
He thinks he's funny. So I'm going to highlight the top of this with light lime or something thereof. Look at that, I have light lime. What do you know? I have been running out of the strangest colors lately. I don't know why. So I'm going to put a nice little highlight on top of my... Oops, I think this one's too white.
The only problem is you don't put a Manhattan in a martini glass.
No. No, you would not.
Here's a good question. What's the difference between a Manhattan and an old-fashioned?
I have absolutely no idea.
The twist of orange.
Okay. I wouldn't know that. So I'm because I had to substitute this color, it would be more lime green. So I need to put a little bit of that. There we go. So I need to shade my skull. I'm going to grab a little bit of lamp black. I'm going to shade some of these details on the cherry with, I'm going to find some Napa Red. I find I'm running out of just the oddest colors. I'm out of Napa Red, so I have to use some, what am I using here? Deep Burgundy.
Oh, Sandy McTeer's in the chat.
Hey, Miss Sandy.
And Sheila just got the Manhattan joke. Nope, Linda Franco's in there.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
So I'm just going to shade my skull with a little bit. I'm using Deep Burgundy for this because I don't have any Napa Red.
What?
What?
Why do you not have Napa Red?
I don't know. I'm running out of just the weirdest colors.
Mainly the ones you don't use?
Well, that I don't use often. Maybe that's the problem. I cleaned out my paint rack a few weeks ago and oops. Probably shouldn't have been quite so energetic. I'm going to...
My adult beverages of choice are sangrias and margaritas. Those are...
good choices. I'm with you on the margarita.
Yeah.
And the sangria. I like sangria too.
I like margaritas.
So I just took a little bit of lamp black and added it to my deep burgundy because it just wasn't quite dark enough. There we go. That's better.
I don't know how much closer I can get.
This is tiny. I'm sorry. Are you lowering it?
Yeah, it's gonna freak out. I knew it.
Well, of course it's going to freak out. It doesn't like being touched.
It's freaking out. I know. I'm trying to. Yeah, that's as close as I can get. She might have to hold it up.
So I'm going to, oh, good grief, out of warm white.
Why ruin good tequila and margaritas? Because a lot of people don't know what good tequila tastes like.
That's quite true.
Renee is giving me acid flashbacks. Sorry. Wow. Okay. Well, we know where Sheila partied. I'm thinking Woodstock.
Hey, she's not that old.
She's not that old?
No, she's my age.
Oh, okay.
So I'm using just a little bit of warm white to highlight this skull a little bit. You could use a little bit of orange. You could use almost any color, really, as long as it's the warm white's just a little too stark. I'm going to mix a little bit of scarlet with that white, just so I get an orangey color. I just finding that white's a little too harsh. That's better. There we are. This skull doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I just find he's kind of fun and kind of creepy. Creepy's a good thing. Keep him on the creepy side. Creepy's a good thing. And I'm going to fill in his eyes, clean them up a little bit. I'm going to use a liner and a little bit of lamp black. If I can find my liner. I tidied up my studio yesterday. Now I can't find anything. It's terrible. I also got my brush order in yesterday. I had been going through my brushes and I was woefully short on a few things. And so I needed to replace a few. So I got myself some new fugly brushes. My fugly brushes were in rough shape. There we go. So liner brush just to clean up those the eye sockets a little bit. What?
I'm going to have to come and bop you, Renee. I was a wee child when Woodstock happened.
No kidding.
Sorry.
Her parents might
Doesn't
have
mean
been.
you weren't there.
It's unlikely. So now I've got to put a stem in. I want to liven up that green. That drink is just not cutting it for me. So I'm going to grab a little of this. I like these neons. These neons are fun. And they're a great way to punch up color. So I'm going to use a little bit of neon green, that thermal green. And I'm going to come in here. Ooh, look at that. Love that.
Never seen an orange skull before?
It's red.
I've seen orange skulls.
Around here we have all kinds of them.
And in nature.
Yeah.
So, oxidization.
There we go. I'm just floating a little bit of that thermal green towards the top of this drink.
Instead of scarlet, what did you use on your skull?
In there, I used scarlet.
Oh.
It's just on a black base and there's no white underneath, so it reads a lot darker than it actually is. So I'm just pulling a little of that thermal green over top of that sour apple. That's more what I wanted. I wanted a bit of a glow, you know. It needed to look toxic. So I'm going to use a little, originally used a little bit of sour apple, I think, for Kelly Green to stroke in the stem. I'm going to use a little bit of this evergreen, I think is the color I grabbed. Could use plantation pine for this too, now that I have some.
I cleaned up and cannot find my quarter edge checks for the frames on my pretty pink orchard and easy beds. I spent more time looking than cleaning.
That's the problem with you clean up your studio. You can't find anything after the fact.
Oh.
It looks really nice, but you can't find anything.
What can you use if you don't have scarlet?
You know what? Any nice bright red. What's the other one that I have here? Red Alert will work too. Oh yeah. Red Alert's got that nice hot tone to it. So that will work.
Totally pop the green.
Oh yes, that neon just does lovely things for that green. So I'm going to put a little dent in the top of his head. I'm going to do that.
Looks like antifreeze.
It does. That's the whole idea. I wanted it to look toxic. So I just put a little C-stroke float in there just to put a little divot. And then I'm going to use a little bit of plantation pine to stroke in that stem. And remember, there's a little bit there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of warm white, add a little green to it. I just want to make a light. Oh, maybe I'll just grab that, a little bit of that light lime. It's a little too bright, I think, for that, that Kelly green. But it does need a little highlight on. There we go.
Oh, is that the stem?
Yep. And I'm going to do the same thing to the eye socket. So I'm just going to pull a little highlight in here, like so.
His name is Paul.
Paul, what is it your penchant of naming all of these things?
It wasn't me. Did we name the skull cherry yet?
No, we haven't. We apparently have to.
Paul or Rodriguez?
Rodriguez. So I love putting these fun little elements in to these things. I just think that it makes them so much more interesting. So we're going to move over here.
They're asking where Bob is.
Bob is right there. We're going to move over here to the champagne.
My hubby got a full-size skeleton and hung it up to scare our daughters on Halloween.
I
They
love
weren't even
some-
fazed by it. It tells you what kind of pranks your dad is.
So I base coated this, the champagne with scarlet. Again, if you don't have scarlet, go ahead and use whatever you have on hand. You can use that.
Painting right over the bubbles.
I'm painting right over the bubbles. Now I took,
Oh, it's gonna get depth.
it's gonna get these bubbles, it's gonna give them a nice shape. So I'm just going over top of this. This is scarlet. I've thinned it out, a little bit of water. And it's going to do two things. It's going to even out our base coat, give us a
Ooh,
little extra depth.
camera freaked out for a second.
I think I bumped the table.
That's how we avoided that problem. By not having anything attached to the table anymore. But I guess I was wrong.
So,
See, Mom keeps pushing Bob out of the way.
well, you know what? Bob's in the way. So, all of these bubbles that are in here, are going to get base coated. I originally used thinned pumpkin for highlighting this. But again, pumpkin is a discontinued color, so of course I didn't have any, but I do have tangerine. And I need an orange with a fair amount of white in it, so that tangerine should do the job just fine.
And a bunch of Bob emojis.
So I'm going to dry this really quick because it is taking a while.
Can't find tangerine here. So what can they use if they don't have tangerine?
Any bright orange, or you know what? You can always take what is the name of that color?
Orange flame?
No, well, you can take orange flame and add a little water to it, or white to it. You can use bright orange because it's got a little bit, it's got a fair amount of white in it. You just need something with that more opaque coverage.
I told you Bob was in the way. No, Bob shouldn't be.
Bob is in the way.
Bob is right where he needs to be.
So I've got some tangerine for mine. I'm going to thin it out quite a bit. I don't want this full strength because I want to be able to control it. And this is my highlight color on top of that scarlet.
I know you're not using it today, but what is the best way to clean a brayer?
I take it apart and scrub it with hand sanitizer. I found that works really well. The other thing I've been using lately is that paint remover stuff, that spray. What is it called? Lift Off. And that actually is working really well too. So I'm putting that highlight on that edge, that front edge, like so. This is all at the top.
Do you throw away discontinued colors?
I usually donate them or give them to a friend. It's difficult to produce a pattern with discontinued colors. It really ticks people off. So I try to avoid it. So, as much as I might like them, I have to be careful that I don't use them when I'm designing, so. And I loved Margarita. It was a favorite color, but it is discontinued, so I have to avoid using it. And the best way to do that is just not have it in my paint stash. So, yep, when it comes to discontinued colors, I will give them to a friend or I will donate them.
I got the heat gun, but it came with round prongs to plug in. Do they come with regular prongs? You got a European model?
You got a European model. I would send it back, especially if you live here.
No kidding.
Because that means that it's wired for
240.
240, not 110. So, never mind. I will do it.
What's that?
I was going to get the...
Yeah, I'm...
I know, you're a little hemmed in.
Would it? No, it probably wouldn't work on 110.
No, well, you'd need an adapter.
Yeah.
You can go one way, but you can't go the other.
He's
There.
stupido.
So I decided I'm going to kick up that orange because the tangerine isn't quite as vibrant as I want it to be. Certainly not as vibrant as the pumpkin. So I'm going to use the tangerine, the torrid orange in the neons. I am a big fan of these neons. There's the heat I wanted. I kind of wanted this to look like lava. Does that sound silly?
No? It's red, it's bubbly. Lava.
Now we're cooking with gas. And then I'm going to shade down there with a little of that deep burgundy or Napa red. If you have Napa red, use the Napa red.
My white pen does not work on painted surfaces. It skips in clumps.
Wipe the tip with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. It's probably something stuck on the ball. I did that to one of mine, and it was just dried paint from drying on stuff that wasn't quite dry. So I'm just shading at the bottom of this color with a little bit of that. This is a mess up here. I gotta fix that. I want this shadow at the base of this to be fairly dark because this is supposed to look like a little bit like a flame or lava. So I need it to be a little darker at the base. Here we go.
I gotta be out of here again at 3.
Yep.
Hey, at least we don't have to do too much for the COVID restrictions now.
Yeah, we have gone green out here, which means that we are back to minimal restrictions, no masks if you don't want to wear one. But a lot of people are still wearing them.
And we'll see what it's like at this concert.
Yeah.
This is going to be...
Oh, this is just, I've made a mess of this. Let me clean this up.
This is just going to be fun.
This is just going to be a mess. Just made a complete and utter mess of this. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to take some of this paint off because I hooped it.
You hooped it?
I hooped it. So I'm just pulling a little bit of that scarlet over top of my mess because I hooped it, pardon me. So I'm just going to...
drawn on with a special white pen?
No, actually, this is just white graphite. I use Deckwort's white graphite for tracing and transferring. And I use my Uniball Signo putting my line drawings on when I'm tracing. That's why the lines are so fine, because I'm using such a fine pen. Okay, I'm going to dry this and then we'll do it again. See if I can get it right this time.
What can we use if we don't have the torrid orange neon?
Just find the brightest orange you can find. I like using that orange flame with a little bit of white in it. That works really well. Well, let's try it again, shall we? Oops.
Nothing says you can't add glow-in-the-dark paint to it either.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it comes in red and purple, but you could definitely use it on the green.
Well, we have the glow. Deckwort has the Deckwort Glow, and that can be mixed to any one of the Americana colors.
Oh, there you go.
So there we go. Okay, I'm happier. Now I got what I wanted. I wanted it to sort of take on a flame look, and I just wasn't getting there. I'm not sure why. I think that tangerine is not quite transparent enough, if that makes any sense. So now I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to tackle those bubbles. And this is actually a lot of fun. I love doing this part, because we're going to do that with that circle maker, our shape maker. Now, when I'm tracing anything round on, I use one of these. This is the circle maker because there's a variety of the circles in it. There's a variety of different tools like this that are available on the market, but this one is the one I've been using. And you just find the circle that is closest to what you're tracing over. I'm going to tape that in place. It is a stencil after all. Now, when I traced on, I used the circle maker or the template to do the tracing so that I got nice crisp round circles.
Okay.
I'm going to grab a small stencil brush. And I'm going to work with a little bit of that tangerine. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to put my circle on, like so. And I'm going to dry it. Now you could base coat this in, but honestly, this is so much faster. Now you can stipple this. I stipple after I've done a coat because it just makes it easier. So we're going to put a shadow on this and then we're going to put a highlight on. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that deep burgundy or cranberry wine or whatever that dark red was that I used. I have to look. I'm not firing on all cylinders today. Deep burgundy is the color they use. So I'm going to just stencil a little at the bottom. And then I'm going to clean up my brush a little bit. I'm going to pick up that tangerine again. And then I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of the white. And I'm going to blend those on the brush. And there is my little highlight. So I've used all of the colors. Voila, there's our bubble. So I'm going to dry that one. And then you're going to do the same thing. And you just keep finding the appropriate dot to make your bubble. So now we have more bubbles. So you can use circle stencils or like I've done in this case, I'm just using these little circle makers for this. It cleans up just like a stencil, so it's fairly easy. And then shade it. And you can highlight it the same way. And that's just that little bit of warm white mixed with the orange, and there's your bubble. So I just keep going until I get all my bubbles done. And a little burgundy. Easy peasy. And all of those little dots, those bubbles that are up here, are done the same way. And I kind of like that you can see the background through them. It just makes them a little more interesting. That you can see some of that black. And this is such a quick way to do these. Your shading and highlighting and everything is already done. And you can just add your bubbles as you see fit. So if you want more bubbles, put in more bubbles. Just like that. Now I've got a half bubble right there. So I'm going to put down a little bit of tape, straight edge, like so that I got half a bubble, if I can get it on straight. So I'm just taping off that line like that. And we just want half. That is not straight. Jeepers. There we go. That's better. So when you want a half bubble, just lay down a little bit of tape. Oh my gosh, now I can't get it off. There we go. Couldn't get it on, now I can't get it off. So there's our half bubble. So now we're going to add a couple of little highlights. Now we can deepen the shading on these with an angled shader and a little bit, if you really want to enhance the shape of these bubbles. Take a little bit of that deep burgundy, and I came in just a little from the edge so that I don't, see that little faint line there? It just sort of enhances the shape of those bubbles quite a bit. And it keeps them looking nice and round.
Can we mix the glow mica powders into our sealers too?
The glow mica powders?
Yeah.
I honestly, I have never used the glow mica powders, so I'm not sure. However, I have used mica powders in the past, and we have mixed them with oil-based sealers without any issues, but I don't know how well they'll work with the water-based sealers. I can't honestly tell you, so won't give you any advice in that regard.
I'm on vacation, so viewing from West Virginia.
Woo! Nice. So I'm going to highlight my, I've got way too much white in here. I'm going to highlight my my bubbles with a float of a little bit of thinned warm white. And it is just a float, and it's very weak.
What is mica powders?
It's an additive you can add to a variety of different paints, and it just adds a little bit of sparkle, usually made from stone. Mica is the shiny stuff that you see in rocks. So, and it's used a lot in faux finishing and commercial finishing and things.
It's used a lot in car paint.
Yep. It's usually what lends sparkle to car paint. So I've got my highlights on my bubbles. Now, it's time to add another highlight to this. I'm going to do that with angled brush and a little bit of warm white. I'm just going to thin this out quite a bit. I'm just going to define the edges of this just a little. Right there.
Good old wheel of names.
Oh, he's spinning for winners.
I'm just saying it.
So,
You know what? Let's just add to our previous list.
there you go. Oh my goodness, that wheel is getting loaded. Are you doubling everybody's chances? Is that what you're doing?
We can't have your name in there, though.
No, I don't need any of it.
If I want it, I can have it.
So now we have to do some eyeballs, and we have to do this purple one in the middle. I kind of like the eyeballs in this. I just think they're fun. This one is the Cosmopolitan. Eyeballitan. Cosmopolitan. So I base coated the liquid in this one with brilliant purple. The eyeball is going to be warm white, but instead of base coating this, I decided I wanted to do all of the liquid first because it's a lot. There's some stuff going on in here. Uh-oh, we have a winner. Anne McIntyre. You have won a set of those Dynasty Faux Squirrel quills Or actually, you want a set of Dynasty Faux Squirrel brushes, because I don't remember which ones I put in which package. So somebody's getting. So there's a set of Dynasty brushes going out to Ann McIntyre.
A-N-N-E. And it's McIntyre.
McIntyre.
M-C-I-N.
Ah. So Anne, make sure you go to the front page of my website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner, and send us a quick message with your shipping information, and those will go out to you first thing Monday morning. Now, some of the members have been posting their finished pieces from Tuesday night's class, the membership class. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. Louise Long did a gorgeous job of hers. Absolutely beautiful. And there's been a couple more. I haven't had a chance to review all of them, but oh my gosh, there's 3 or 4 posted already, and they're absolutely gorgeous. You guys did such a beautiful job of them. And it's a fun piece. I now have 2 of them because I finished mine the other night. It was fun.
Oh, the light box.
The light box, that drawing is this afternoon. Well, no, tomorrow. Tomorrow's 31st. And the winner will be announced on the 1st.
Today's the 31st.
Okay, then it'll be drawn this afternoon. Then we'll announce it tomorrow. I'm a day late and a dollar short.
It's all good.
So I've got my purple. I've got a nice solid base coat on there now. And this one is fairly straightforward. We're going to shade this with a nice wide float of some Diox purple. You can use the one in the Americanas. I usually tend to go to the fluid acrylics because those are my go-tos. I just love the fluid acrylics. But dioxazine purple and Diox in the Americanas are going to give you the same effect. So you're good either way, regardless. It's a nice dark color.
How do we register for the light box?
That one is any purchase, every order that has been made on my website for the last month, for the month of July. Your name goes into, your order number goes into the spinny wheel thing, and whoever placed an order, someone is going to win that thing. I love my light box. It's actually a light tablet. So I'm going to shade the bottom of this. I intentionally did not base coat the eyeballs because I know that this float's going to be a wide one, and it would be easier to do it if there's no white eyeballs in the way. Ta-ta-ta.
No.
What are you doing?
I clicked something and I didn't want to click that something.
You whoopsied.
I whoopsied.
So I'm going to husky a little bit. I can't float today.
I'm still working Snuggle Up and Watch It Snow. I'm so far behind.
There's no rush. I'm always impressed when somebody actually finishes, because it's a lot of work. People don't realize, painters realize, but the average person that doesn't pick up a brush doesn't realize how much work is involved in painting some of these things, and that's, I think, something about working craft shows that used to bug me, is people assume that if it's handmade, it's something you could do in 5 minutes. That's not the case. And there's a great deal of skill and whatnot that goes into making these things. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to use, originally I used the color Light Orchid to highlight this purple. And I do believe that Light Orchid has been discontinued as well. So I'm going to switch to a different color. I'm going to use purple color.
Oh, you're going to be busy.
Oh, I know.
There's 7 pages of orders.
I know. It's a lot. It's all good.
And you just want the number?
Name or number, whichever is easiest. The number is probably the best way to go. So I'm going to use Lilac Meadow for my highlight color on this instead of the Light Orchid, because I don't have any Light Orchid. So Lilac Meadow, this is one of Decort's newer colors.
Oh, never mind. There's more.
So I'm going to pull a little bit of that Light Orchid across the top.
There's 28 pages.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
That sucks. I have nothing to do with that one. And of course, Sandy is getting people to go order stuff from your website so they can get a chance to win.
Yeah.
And yes, if you have multiple orders throughout
Yes.
the month,
Yeah.
It's double entry.
Exactly.
Hip hip hurrah, I found my 1/4-inch check stencil. 3 more I didn't know I lost.
Isn't that the way it goes?
Yep.
So I'm just, you know what? I can't float today. I keep putzing and making a mess, and geez Louise.
I haven't even started yet. I'm about 8 projects behind.
And that's okay. It's, so am I. I have so much to do. I am so far behind I can see my own taillights. So I'm going to start base coating my eyeballs. I've got my shading in, got my highlighting in. So I want to show you something. I keep coming back to this thing, these circle makers, these shape makers. We have them in different shapes. I gotta just put it here, it'd be easier to see it. We have squares, and then we have the mixture with a variety of little circles and squares and small ones. And then we have the circle makers. Now, when I'm tracing and transferring a line drawing on, and I talk about this all the time, if you want to paint something and make it look round, it has to be round when it starts out. So I use the shape maker to do my tracing. And so I grab my red pen. And so I find the shape, the circle, that is as close to the size of what I'm tracing. And then that's how I trace. I do the same thing for the inside portions. Anything that is supposed to be round, I use the round shape maker. And the result is that you get nice round eyeballs, nice round bubbles, nice round. If it's supposed to be round, it should be round. So, eyeballs. So I'm using warm white.
I was going to say it, but nope.
To base coat in my eyeballs. Now, the reason I say to have nice round circles when you trace it on, it's like anything else. It's difficult to paint a straight line if you don't start with a straight line, and it's difficult to paint a spherical object if the object is not spherical. So if you're tracing it on and it's a nice round circle with nice clean edges, you're going to get nice round circles with nice clean edges. And it's so much easier to paint up to a clean line than it is to paint up to a rough one. Comme ça. And that is how you get nice round eyeballs.
Habal.
Habals.
Hab. Yeah, that's not.
I like my shape makers. I have been using them for years when I'm tracing and transferring and designing, and that's just, they make a world of difference on the end result when things are nice and neat.
You know how
But
many
neat is-
videos you have on your channel?
I don't know.
Well,
How many videos do I have on my channel?
there is 120.
Wow. Okay.
I
It's a
was,
lot more
I
than
was
I thought.
looking to go like make a big deal about 100 videos, but yeah, you're well past 100 videos.
Cool.
It's like 100th video, yay! Wait, oh, 100.
Went by that one a while ago, huh?
Yeah. It's
Well-
your 29th live on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but that's also including your member stuff. Your member lives
Yeah.
and this one.
Cool.
Including this one.
So there's my eyeballs. Nice round eyeballs.
Next week will be your 30th live on YouTube.
Well, there we go. That's something to celebrate.
30th live?
Wow. Well, you got to figure. I mean, we've been doing these for over a year.
Started off as a, hey, that, what was it? I think it was Seabreeze? No, it wasn't Seabreeze.
No, it was Calm Sea.
Calm Sea, that's it.
And I did that event.
You had such a good turnout.
And we had it was fun. Like, I enjoyed it. It was fun. So, figured why not?
And the Facebook lives were doing well, but had some issues. I think it was connectivity issues and
Yeah, that's all. But I kind of like, I'm having fun on YouTube.
but now that we have the premium membership with this software,
Mm-hmm.
we can stream on both surfaces. Or on, both
Yeah.
surfaces. Services. Why do I feel like I'm saying surfaces?
I have no idea.
Blah.
Well, that's actually really good to know because that might be a fun thing to do to stream on both.
Or have an event
Or have an
Facebook,
event
YouTube.
or whatever. Well, I mean, some people prefer working on Facebook. That's okay.
I just don't know what it would look like on our end.
No idea. We'll have to investigate.
When did you start professionally teaching?
Let me think.
In Winnipeg, wasn't it?
I've been teaching professionally for 24 years.
Yeah, that would have been Winnipeg.
24 years.
So that would have been 1998, 96?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 96.
Yep.
Yeah, we just moved to Winnipeg.
We didn't move to Winnipeg until 98.
No, it was 96.
No, it was 98.
I was 13 years old when we moved to Winnipeg.
And in 96, you would have been 10.
So that would have been, what, 99?
We moved through the summer of 98, so.
Really? 98?
Yep, because the big flood was 98. We moved there that summer.
Oh, yeah.
Eyeballs. I have eyeballs. So now I got to paint the irises in here. And I think the iris is going to be that same green that we used I had to think for a minute because it was margarita, but now I'm using sour apple, so I confused myself.
Kid doesn't even know when he was born. Nope, don't care either. I know where. Right here.
He knows perfectly well when he was born. He just couldn't do the math.
I thought we got there in 96.
No. So, having been a military family, more often than not,
The end result was the same.
well, we have a tendency to base our appreciation of time and years on more on location than date. That's how we figure things out.
Yeah.
Because we moved around so much. So,
Time is irrelevant, location is everything.
yeah. So for us, especially the kids, I remember when we first came back from overseas, the kids were playing at a park. And Renee was still quite little, but he was telling a woman and her kids who were sitting at the park, and they had asked him a question, and he was telling them that he was spending his summer vacation with his mère and pépère here, but that last summer vacation he had been in Malaga in Spain, and he didn't remember the name of the place we were, but that we were in Spain. And it was kind of funny because they sort of thought he was telling stories when in actual fact, yes,
That's where I spent my summer.
he spent his summer in Malaga. And so it was, you kind of realize that it's a military life is a very different one compared to what the average person lives.
Before or after Woodstock?
Before or after Woodstock?
That was Sheila.
That was funny. I adore that woman.
I started painting in 97 and met you on the first Castwood convention I attended in 1999.
Yep. I was the final coat girl. And up until then, I'd been teaching classes in faux finishing and
Were you working for Selkirk?
yeah.
In 99?
Uh-huh. I was working for Selkirk Painting back then.
I thought you were...
Yes, I was selling final coat.
In 99?
Yeah.
I thought you were working Superstore still.
I was working both at that time.
Oh, right. Oh, you were a sales rep for...
That's
Selkirk.
right.
Right, you weren't at Selkirk.
Well, I was, but only not full time. So, yeah. So, Castwood, 99. Yeah, I've been around a while.
Ooh, it's 2 o'clock.
So, we got habols. Now, the rest of this is actually going to go very quickly once I get all this green on here. That black bit in the center can stay black because it's a pupil.
Your pupil?
It's the pupil.
Your pupil. Final Coat, what a great product.
Fabulous product. Still think it is,
If you can find it.
if you can find it. But yes, it is. It's a fantastic product. What?
Hi, Miss Soot. Don't rub up on the tripod, please. You're making the camera freak out. No, don't do it! You. Don't. Stop it. Yeah.
So go away.
Oh my god.
The drama. Really, Soot? I get in.
Is that tooth come out yet?
Miss Soot is
No, it didn't.
getting on in years. We were using the term a little long in the tooth to describe her the other day because she's losing a tooth. So she's got a canine, one of her front canines is very loose. So she's got one that sneaks below her lip line, which is hilarious because she looks so dorky, but she's our old damsel. She's 13. She's quite a character. Okay, so we have haballs. Oops.
Hi, Sud. Hi, Sud. Hi, Sud.
Zittergetties.
Sud's in the house.
Is she ever?
I totally understand, as I'm a military brat and married a Marine.
Sucker for
dates?
punishment.
So I connect.
Nope.
Hello?
Can you hear us now? Can you hear me now? So I'm going to put a shadow of dark green.
See, that's what happens when the cat comes down here.
Yep.
At least she didn't walk across the keyboard or lay down on it.
Or walk across the palette like she did the other day. So I'm just shading the right side of these eyeballs with a float of, you guessed it, plantation pine. Because I don't have any black green. And I don't use black green all that often, but I do use plantation pine quite often. So there is my shading. And I'm going to highlight. You can use a few lines over top of that shadow, but I'm going to put a highlight on here with, use warm white.
Really, Sandy? Cat got your tongue? A lot of sound. Ugh.
This is why her and I are friends. So I'm, instead of using the white, I'm going to use a little bit of that neon green just to keep it in line with that Scultini up there.
We can blame Bob, not the kitty. No, it was definitely the kitty.
Yeah, it was definitely the cat. She's messing with cameras. So there, I like it.
I think it.
And I'm going to put a little highlight on my, what do you call that? The pupil. Geez, as I said, not firing on all cylinders today, I don't think. So I'm going to put just a weak float of warm white on that eyeball, in the pupil. And then I'm going to put a dip dot, nice bright white dip dot on my eyeball.
What's a Halloween project with a black kitty showing up?
Yeah.
Renee, your goodies are on the way. She said more cookies.
Karen, she said more cookies. So we have a highlight that needs to come across this lower half of that eyeball, and I'm going to do that with a weak float of Diox purple. I'm going to shade underneath these eyeballs, we need to have a shadow down in here, like so. Ooh. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull that float right across that eyeball, just like so, so that it looks like it's in the liquid. So do you see that fine line? And I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom of these eyeballs. I'm going to pull that little float of that diox, and it's heavily thinned. But we want these eyeballs to look like they're actually in that liquid. So there we go. You know, some days you should not be allowed to pick up a paintbrush, and I'm thinking today is one of those for me. I have completely hooped this again. Here, I just made a mess. I don't know if you can see that, but I whoopsied and promptly, there we go, got white paint all over the shaded section of that eyeball, so completely messed it up. So now we have eyeballs. I'm going to dry this real quick. Now you can do this next part with a liner brush, but I just happen to think it's a lot of fun to do it with the pens. Just going to make sure this paint is good and dry. Now I have my white Uniball Signo, and I have a black Uniball Signo. Now you could use that white pen to outline everything, like these wine glasses and whatnot. I'm going to recommend you use paint, just because that's a lot of ink. And I just think it'll, as simple as it would be to do it that way, and I know you can do it that way, I kind of like the idea of using my brush. Now I'm going to finish out these eyeballs with my black Uniball. And on that shaded side, I'm going to put just a few little sketchy lines. And there is a sketchy line going around the outside of this eyeball, nothing too steady. I'm going to do the same thing around the outside on this as well. I just kind of like how it finishes things. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's going to give them sort of that cartoony look, which appeals to me for this type of thing. And I kind of like the fact that they're imperfect. And it certainly makes them look a lot more fun. So fun. So there is your cartoony looking eyeballs floating in. And we're going to start taking care of some of this smoke and that fog that's in the background. And I do that with some thinned warm white. I'm going to clean up my palette here. This is just too much. So a little bit of warm white. And we're going to, I'm going to float, and I apparently can't paint today. So I'm going to use I'm using a 1/2 inch angled shader, lots of water, lots and lots of water. We're not looking for perfection at all. And we're going to use that thinned white to put in our fog. And I'm using the whole chisel edge of the brush, as you can see. We're not looking for perfection. Lots and lots of water. So you can see that brush, it just leaves behind, that little bit. Now I've got the heel of that brush doing a lot of this work too. But again, I am not worrying about it. I'm just following the general shape of that pattern that's laid out there. You can see it sort of leaves you with that foggy, indistinct. So lots and lots of water. It's just going to leave like a residue behind. So don't worry about getting it too perfect. If you feel it's not bright enough for you, do it again. Doesn't matter if it's irregular, that's okay. And those white graphite lines can stay there. It's not going to hurt this in any way, shape, or form. In fact, we're going to enhance a few of them. So that is how you do that fog that's back there. And then we've got the steam coming off of this liquid in here. And this one is actually a I don't base coat this in. I was trying to think of the word, but it wasn't coming. I'm using it just like I would use the rigger for lettering. I'm using it on the chisel edge. Do you see how flat it is? So that's how I'm getting that. So there we go. So this is fun. Remember we're talking about this. I'm going to use a liner brush and white paint to do that glass, but I want to show you how to do this with the pen. I like that this Uniball Signal, I can highlight with this. This one is not, oh, this is the one that I used the other day on paint that wasn't dry. There we go. There we are.
Apparently Robin Storm's not feeling too well.
There's a lot of people not feeling too well.
I was going to paint, but not feeling that great today. Just laying back and watching. Maybe I'll feel better later.
So this is the fun part about using that Uniball Signal, that white one, is that you can create some fun little details with it. You know, so for that fog. And I'm just following those white graphite lines. I'm letting the pen, you know, hit and miss, skip here and skip there. And it's just a light, sketchy line, and it's not everywhere. I'm just, you know, wherever I feel like putting it.
Whoa, the camera just freaked out.
Why?
I don't know.
So this is just fun. This just adds an easy design element to it, and that you can sort of freestyle with this a little bit, and it's fine. And it's not a perfect solid line, which is, you know, makes things more interesting. But it does what we need it to do, and that was to highlight our fog. There we go. So now we have fog. I'm going to dry that really quick. And then I'm going to get my liner out, my favorite liner, which is that 15-aught or a 10-aught. Find it. There it is. Yep. So there's my 10-aughts. And I'm going to grab some titanium white. I think I want something really bright for this. And we're going to shape all of those glasses. And make sure that ink is nice and dry. gravy. Too many whites when you go through every bottle before you find the one you need. So I've got a little bit of titanium white here. I want this nice and bright. I'm going to grab my... what's left of my Joe Sonia. I'm down to my last little bit. I got to order some more. So I've thinned out some titanium white, and I'm using, this is the 15 lot extra long detail liner in the Micron, and this is what I'm going to use to detail these glasses. Make sure I got. So I'm putting a nice bright white line to outline these glasses. And I wanted a harder white line for this. Now, originally I'd done them in warm white, but I think the harder white, that brighter white actually works better for this, especially on that black. Da, da, da. I like this sort of cartoon feel to this. It appeals to me. But it's not so hyper realistic. Or even realistic for that matter.
Well,
It's playful and fun. And I'm going to do the same thing.
eerie fog. Do you sell rigger brushes?
I don't have any. Last time I checked, which was the other day, the brush guys had some in stock. And so if you're going to be ordering rigger brushes from them, make sure you use that coupon code Tracy M. It'll give you an additional discount.
You're gonna get your remote control ready.
I would if I had any idea where my phone is.
It's in my hand.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Bear with me.
So there's that little highlight section in that glass. We've got a little arch there, and I'm going to come down here and do that same little, that zigzag thing. Again, this is not a super realistic piece. It is meant to look playful. It is meant to look cartoony, which is what makes it fun. I'm not really into the terrifying Halloween stuff. I much prefer the more playful version of Halloween. That's more my thing. Creepy I like, frightening I don't.
So when you're ready to go to face cam,
Uh-huh.
press face cam.
Okay.
When you're about to end, hit title.
Okay.
And then hit end stream.
Okay.
But not in rapid succession. Give it
Okay.
a couple seconds so it can end. Otherwise you have what happened last weekend.
Yep. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, I will put this off to the side.
Yeah. You've really got that condescension thing down.
I know.
Yes. Don't know why I let him get away with it.
I'm just being smartass.
I know. You get it? Come by it honestly.
Yeah, Just putting it out there.
Don't get any arguments here. No, this is my favorite Halloween stuff. I absolutely love Lori Speltz. Her Halloween stuff is just so stinking cute. And Chris Hoy does Halloween so great. That type of Halloween stuff appeals to me. I don't, the super scary stuff I don't like. Sheila Landry just did these amazing Halloween ornaments that I love. That kind of thing to me is awesome. So that the creepy Halloween is great. The scary Halloween not so great. I don't like being frightened. It scares me. Same reason I don't get on things like roller coasters.
I don't like being afraid. It scares me.
Well, it
Yes.
does. Honestly, I mean,
Nobody likes being afraid.
some people do. That's why they watch horror movies. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
That's why people like getting onto.
Hello. I apologize. Our other microphone decided to die. So I'm using a wireless mic now. So I'm gonna quickly do another spinny wheel.
Okay, good.
Miss N.M. Burling.
And Burling. You have won a set of Dynasty Faux Squirrel brushes and some other goodies. Oh, look at that. I have a microphone again. How novel. Today, it seems, anyway.
What's with the N today?
I don't know.
N's are winning.
Ands are winning today. That's a good thing.
Oh, is it just going in alphabetical order?
No. So I'm just adding a little additional highlight to this so that it looks like it's inside the glass. And that all I'm doing is just putting a little fine white line in. And then I'm going to paint the straw because I forgot all about the straw. And I'm going to do that with the same green that I used for that Scultini. Just going to use a little bit of that. I'm just going to stroke this in really lightly, just one coat, because I kind of want the straw to look a little bit transparent. I don't want it to be perfectly opaque, because that would be boring. For whatever reason, I just totally blanked. And I'm going to highlight it with a little bit of that neon green that we used in there too, because I really like how that looks.
Could a white gel pen work for the outline?
Absolutely. You could use a white gel pen. I went with the paintbrush simply because, you know, it seemed like a lot to be using ink for, but I mean, absolutely, you could use a white gel pen. You can use a white paint pen. You could use whatever you want. The only thing is when you're using a gel pen, you're going to have to spray it before you varnish it, just to make sure everything is set so that you don't end up with, you know, ink smeared all over the place. But that will work. We got one more name. Not yet.
There's a name I have to add.
Ah.
She's actually not in here. What? How are you? You gotta like the video, Holly. You have to click the like button.
Is that Holly?
Yeah, Holly.
Holly who? Sorry.
Just Holly.
Holly.
There's no
Oh, there's no name. Okay.
Holly.
Holly.
Gotta click the like button.
I am looking at this and I'm thinking I need to deepen the red down here. It's just not talking to me. And so it's upstairs hollering her head off. I don't know why. So there we go.
Dog probably bugging her. Give her a stern look.
That's all it takes. There, I deepened that a little bit. Now the only thing that we have left to do on this is the lettering. I'm not going to paint all of the lettering because that's a bit much for today, but I do want to show you how it's done. So we're going to do the poison one. And the poison gets base coated. Originally, I think I had used, well, let's find out what I used. For the poison, I had based it with green tree. Well, green tree, I don't think I have green tree. Good gravy, Marie. Yes, I do have green tree. Hello. I was thinking of green tea, which is a different color. So I'm using a little bit of green tree. It's kind of a nice green. It's a little on the opaque side. We're going to base coat the lettering with that. I'm going to do this poison down here. Now, the nice part about this lettering is that it is irregular at best. So you don't really have to worry too much about, the straight up and down. There's not really too many straight lines in this particular font. So we're going to base it in. Good grief.
That name.
That name? Peg Brandewie.
That is.
Peg Brandewie is the winner of our last giveaway for today. And once we draw the name, the winning order number for that light tablet, you'll be contacted through email, but we will post it both on the Facebook page, my Facebook page, and we'll also post it on the front page of the website. So if you're interested to see who won, that's where you'll find that information. So I'm going to do a couple of letters here just so you can see how this is done. I'll probably finish this up later today, but the lettering is pretty basic. Now the name your up top is base coated with the same purple that we used for this little fella down here. And it gets shaded the same way, but obviously with different colors. So it gets shaded the same way as this liquid in here. The top part is shaded from the top down with Diox purple. And then the bottom half of the lettering is highlighted with that light orchid. I used this one, the Lilac Meadow, for that.
Saw something there.
So, you saw something where?
Saw something in the chat. What color could I use instead of green tea?
It's green tree.
Green tree.
You could use any lighter green value, I would think.
Mint.
Yeah, mint would work, because this green tree is rather minty in tones, so it's an unusual color. It does have sort of a minty hue to it, so you could use like a mint.
Is there a substitute for green tree?
Like I said, a mint tone would probably be your best bet. It's an unusual green. It's not, there's no real other color in the Deckwort line that looks like this. That's why I'm suggesting a mint, because it has a high white content, so it's fairly opaque. But the nice part is, because this lettering is going to have that sort of distressed appearance anyway, you don't have to be too meticulous because it's irregularly shaped lettering anyway. So I'm going to dry this real quick.
Gotta go make some coffee and
Yep.
deal with some drunken stupors and
Well, be safe.
will do.
So dry that real quick. Now, the top of this lettering, I would have used a Kelly green, of which I do not have. So I'm using forest green to do the shading from the top down. Now, this type of lettering is supposed to have sort of that, kind of creepy look. And that base color, although it influences it, you see very little of it when we're finished. So I'm going to float the top of the lettering with that evergreen. I think that's evergreen. Forest green. Good grief. So top of that lettering. And I want to bring it down about, a third of the way, third of the length of that letter. So darkest value towards the top, and then it gradually fades down. So it's going to look a little ragged. And then the bottom of the letter is going to be highlighted with a lighter value. Now we used that light lime for the green, so I'm going to go with that. And then once I show you how to do this, we're going to talk about how we finished off the outside edge of this piece. So we're going to use a float at the bottom of the letter, and I'm going to walk that color up so that it's not a perfect float. You're just sort of walking it up. We want that color to, it's an irregular finish, not neat and tidy. So we've got that irregular. Fix things up if it gets a little wonky, which I'm going to have to fix up a little bit, but that's okay. So that little bit, so you get that really, heavily distressed look to those letters. Now I'm going to pull a little bit of black. This is where I like to fix things up, because I find you want things to look at least well painted. So I'm going to take a little bit of our base color, that black, and then I'm just going to clean up a few edges along here, just so that it's neatly painted. It looks tidy and not, slapdash. I don't like slapdash. Not that this lettering needs to be perfect, but you can always tell when things are intentional and when they're not. And so there we go. Just cleaned up a few little whoopsies that I wasn't keen on. I'm going to dry that really fast. Now the top of this, I know you're probably wondering how come you haven't seen any Bahama Blue yet. Because I use Bahama Blue and asphaltum in everything. I don't think I used asphaltum in this piece at all. So I'm going to dig out my Bahama Blue, because it's, my favorite color in the Americanas. And I'm going to use a dry brush. I'm going to use a nice big Mezzaluna, or this is where you can break out your fugly brush. Where is my fugly brush? Good grief, I can't find it. There it is. So I'm going to use my fugly brush, my really fugly brush. And I'm going to pick up a little of that Bahama Blue. And this is a dry brush. I'm going to pull it from the edge down, like so. I like this effect. It kind of looks, like, and I do that on the top and it pulls straight down. Now you can do this repeatedly if you want more. I kind of like it. There we go. I like it when I get that sort of streaky look where the blue is a little more opaque. Just like that. It just helps give you that aged look. If you've ever seen really old headstones, whatnot, they kind of have that. They patinate a little bit, and so you get a little bit of that stuff running down the edges. And that is how I finish out all of that. Now, I'll probably spend the afternoon and just finish out some of this lettering. I, for whatever reason, cannot float today to save my soul. So I'm going to have to go back in and touch up a few things, because apparently I have managed to put my hands in paint and I've got little spatters of green everywhere. So that is it. That is our Name Your Poison. This is a fun piece. I am going to go in and clean up with my Factus Black, clean up a bunch of graphite lines that are still showing in a few places, tidy up a few lines, tweak a few things, add a couple of highlights in places because I seem to have missed them in a couple of places, like right here. I like that it's simple. It's a simple way of painting glass. It's fun. It's graphic. Kind of looks, like I said, like a comic book, which appeals to me for Halloween. Great deal. I'm going to grab my remote control that Renee got for me, which is kind of neat. Hopefully that switched the cam and you can see me again. Doing this, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got he has managed to set up the software so that I have a remote control on my phone so I can switch cameras and move things around. It's kind of cool. I like it, but old lady, I don't pick up on things as quickly as I should or as quickly as I used to. But I'm getting on to this software, so bear with me. Him working security, and then especially for this time of year because we have so many music festivals. So on Saturdays, he's having to sort of hit the road a little early, and so I have to handle the end part of this. Thanks guys for coming and playing today. This was a fun piece. I'm still a little tired, not 100% quite yet, but I'm getting there. I am feeling much better than I was earlier in the week, so that's a good thing. Lots of prizes. So ladies, to our winners, Peg and the two Anns, don't forget to hit that message, the little speech bubble on the front page of my website, lower right hand corner. Send us your shipping information so we can get that out. Watch my website and the Facebook page for the post about who won the light tablet. We're going to do that drawing this afternoon. I'll get my husband to help me with that one. And what else? Next weekend, we're going to have some fun with some Christmas or Thanksgiving. Sorry, we're going to do Thanksgiving next week. So we've got something up my sleeve for that. New pattern for the membership group goes up probably later tomorrow afternoon, but that will be up as well. And if you have not downloaded your Autumn Gathers pattern yet, members, don't forget, you can do that either under the community tab on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page. Today is the last day for you to download that, so don't forget to do that. New pattern goes up tomorrow afternoon. What else? New members, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. And all those new subscribers, thank you for the support. We really, really appreciate that. It means that we can continue to do this every week. So, having said all of that, with everybody going to less and less restrictions and fewer and fewer mask requirements, if you're not vaccinated, make sure you wear your mask. And hopefully everybody, my lips to God's ears, please stay safe. We love you. And we'll see you next weekend right here. I don't think Renee's working next weekend, so might have him for the whole day. Okay, guys, thanks again for coming. Stay safe.